Hi, welcome back to the FM Garage. I'm Nick, and today we're going to be installing FM adjustable end links on this NC Miata. Today, we'll be installing FM adjustable end links on this Miata. The process is virtually the same for both sides, so for the sake of time, we'll be simply just showing you the one side of the Miata with these parts installed. This process is going to be very similar for our end links for most Miatas, although the parts included may depend a little bit based on the year of the car that you're installing these on. But the process for assembling is going to be virtually identical, so this can be a guide for any Miata with our end links. As you can see here, for the NC Miata, the end links are going to be the same, front and rear. For some of the other years of Miata that we have end links for, the parts are not necessarily going to be the same front and rear and may look a little bit different than what I have on the table here in front of me. But the process remains very, very similar. Before we start, let's go over the parts that you'll receive with these end links when you get them from us. So here on the table, we have a set of 4 end links, which is 2 pairs of end links from our web store. The main thing to keep in mind with these is that the ball studs, actually, some of them are left-hand thread and some of them are right-hand thread. You can actually identify these by looking, and there's a small part number engraved on each part. Each ball stud, each little nut, each center section has a little part number engraved on there, and we have a guide on our website to show you which one's which, and simply just try to keep track and make sure you're threading the right parts into the right parts here so you're not cross-threading anything. This here is going to be the ball stud. This one in particular is the left-hand thread one and has the left-hand thread jam nut already threaded on. We've got the center sleeve here that's adjustable, and because of the way we have these designed with the alternating thread, you can actually keep these together and on the car while you adjust the height of the end link if you were to change the ride height of your car, for example. So here we have the right-hand thread jam nut and the right-hand thread ball stud. So before we get started on the job here today, let's go over the tools we'll need. First, you're going to have some penetrating lubricant on hand, whether that's WD-40, PB Blaster, or something equivalent. It's definitely going to help get those nuts loose off of the end links, especially if you live in the Rust Belt, where those threads are likely to be pretty gummed up or rusted out. Then, you're going to need a 14mm wrench in order to loosen the nut. You'll need a 17mm wrench to retighten the new nuts onto the end link, as well as adjust the jam nut. You're also going to need a 5mm Allen key. Now that we know what tools we're going to need for the job here today, let's get started. All right, we're going to start by removing the rear sway bar end link here off of the rear sway bar. To do that, we're going to need a 14mm ratcheting wrench, a 5mm Allen key, and most likely you're going to need to spray the threads down on the studs with either WD-40 or PB Blaster to make those nuts much easier to remove. So while you're removing these, make sure that you put the wrench on the nut first and then put the Allen key in through the stud to hold the stud in place while you loosen that nut so that the stud doesn't spin and keep the nut in place. All right, now we're going to move to the front and remove the front end link. All right, we're going to start with assembling the rear end link. So again, thing to keep in mind here is to make sure that you know which ball stud is right-hand thread and which one's left-hand thread, and to make sure to match the correct jam nut as well as the correct side of that center sleeve to make sure you're not going to cross-thread anything. So again, since we're not lowering this Miata, we'll be wanting to match roughly the stock end link, rear end link length. So we'll start by assembling that left-hand thread jam nut onto the left-hand thread ball stud here. Then we'll install the left-hand thread's portion of the center sleeve. We'll add the right-hand thread jam nut onto the right-hand thread ball stud. then we'll thread that right-hand thread ball stud into the right-hand thread portion of the center sleeve. So while you're threading these together, it's important to make sure you have roughly the same amount of thread engagement on each side of the center sleeve so that the center sleeve isn't coming unthreaded from one side while you adjust these in the future if you need to. So basically, the easiest way to do that is to fully thread on the jam nut onto each ball stud so you have a rough approximation of how deep the threads go, and then thread each side on until you have roughly the same amount of space on each side. And then from there, you can compare the length to your original end link, which we are in this case. This is pretty darn close to exact what we need. So from there, we'll leave these loose so that once we put it on the car, we can lock the jam nuts up with the end link in place. That'll hold the end link in place a little bit better and make it a lot easier to actually torque these jam nuts down. It's also important to make sure you have at least 5 to 6 threads of engagement on each ball stud into the center sleeve so that they can't flex too much and break off. Okay, so once you have the end link assembled here and roughly the same amount of space on each side of the center sleeve, to match the length of the original, you just simply need to turn the center turnbuckle to lengthen or shorten the length overall of the end link. So as you can see here, turning it this way makes the whole end link longer, and turning it back this way makes the end link shorter. Now we're going to move to the front end link here. And again, the installation procedure is going to be exactly the same for the front versus the rear end links that we're working with here. So we'll start with the left-hand thread ball stud again and the left-hand thread jam nut. And again, for ease of determining the length of the end links and how many threads you have going into the center sleeve, we'll thread the jam nut all the way on. We'll move on to installing the center sleeve here, the left-hand thread portion. Thread it on a little ways there. We'll move to the right-hand thread ball stud and the right-hand thread jam nut. Thread that all the way on. And then we will thread that into the right-hand thread portion of the center section. Okay, so we've got the end link, the front end link assembled here. We've roughly matched the length of the original end link. However, we want a little bit more thread engagement than we're seeing here currently. Just as you can see, there's a lot of threads showing. We want to tighten that up just a little bit so that the end link is not putting too much leverage on that center sleeve or the threads in that center sleeve. So to tighten it up, we're just going to shorten this end link just a little bit. Still very close in overall height to the original front end link, but now we have enough thread engagement to make sure everything's safe and the end link doesn't have too much stress on any of the studs or threads. Now we're going to go ahead and install the rear end link here onto the car. And since we are using a locking nut on these, we will need the Allen wrench again to hold that stud in place while you go to tighten down that nut. And it's a 17 millimeter nut now rather than the 14 that we took off. So now we're going to go ahead and put the upper nut on here. Again, we'll need to use a stud, or the Allen wrench, to hold the stud in place while we tighten this nut, since we're using a locking nut. Now, since you have to use an Allen wrench to hold this stud in place, it's difficult to get an exact torque value for these, but you do want these fairly tight. And the fact that we're using a locking nut here will help keep them in place. Now we're gonna go ahead and install this front end link here. Remember to keep the orientation same as the end link that you removed. Add the nuts onto the studs here, and the assembly is going to be exactly the same as the rear, but we're going to have to use that Allen key to hold that stud in place while we tighten these nuts on. And again, it's going to be difficult to get a proper torque spec on these since you have to hold that stud in place with that Allen wrench. So again, you're going to want to make sure these are pretty tight, but the locking nut will take care of the rest. And move up to the top nut here. Now that we have both passenger side end links installed, front and rear, it's time to move on to the other side. Again, that process is going to be exactly the same, just mirrored. We're not going to show that here on camera, but to do that, simply follow the same instructions that we just did, and you should be good to go. All right, now we're going to move into adjusting the preload out of our sway bars, front and rear. You don't need the hub stands that we have installed here in order to do this procedure. You can do it with your tires. It'll just involve a little bit more reaching around to get the wrenches in place to tighten and loosen those jam nuts in that center section. But we have it done this way here so that you can more easily see how we're doing this part of the procedure. So with that in mind, let's move into adjusting that center sleeve. So as you saw earlier in the video, we already set the rough height for the sway bar end links. So now, basically, if you needed to make any adjustments, you can just spin that center sleeve here to shorten or lengthen the total length. In order to remove the preload from the sway bars, what you're doing here, there's going to be a little window of range here when you turn the center section where there's almost no resistance to turning. And then once you go about a quarter turn or so in either direction, it'll start to tighten up either way, which is going to be more thoroughly changing the height of that sway bar relative to the ground. So what we're doing here is we want to find each end of that area where it starts to get kind of tight, and then kind of set this right in the middle of that range. So for me here, it's beginning to get tight about this section here. So when I go back this direction, it starts to get tight about here. So we're going to set that center section right in the middle of that there. And that's about where we want to leave that. And then the same for the other side is you will want to go to the other side of the car, do the exact same thing, put that center section in that kind of loose little band area. And once you've got both end links on the front and both on the rear set this way, then you can go back and tighten these jam nuts down and lock those in place. As a reminder, if you're lowering the car, which we are not doing here, you'll want to try to get this end of the sway bar as parallel to the ground as possible by adjusting the overall height of the end link. Once you've done that again, make sure you tighten these jam nuts down so that they don't come loose while you're driving around and have the end link disconnect. So go ahead and tighten up this bottom one here, and once again, remember that one of these ball studs is going to have that left-handed thread, so it will tighten in the opposite direction from what you're used to. So just keep that in mind and do what I did there and just spin the nut one way or the other so that you know which way to go in order to tighten that nut up. Now, the point of this procedure that we're doing here is to remove preload from the sway bar. And essentially what that means is we're trying to make sure that the sway bar isn't slightly twisted side to side when you're tightening the jam nuts down onto the center section of each end link. So essentially what you're doing is you want to make sure that center section is kind of in that loose little range on both sides. And that way when you tighten it down, there is no twist being preloaded into the sway bar. And with tires in the way, this is going to be a little bit more difficult than you're seeing it here, but it is definitely doable. You just got to find the right wrenches and get the right leverage point to make sure everything's tight. All right, now we're going to do the exact same procedure on the rear. Once again, make sure you're doing this on each side, adjusting the center sleeve into that little zone where there's no resistance to the turning in either direction before you lock down these jam nuts here. That way you can avoid adding any preload onto the sway bars. So we'll go ahead and find that happy space in the middle there for the center sleeve. So on this, the twist happens about there. The resistance to the twist starts to happen about there. We'll go back and find the other end of that about there. So we want to bring it back about halfway in between. We'll stop there. Make sure we're turning the lock nut in the right direction. And we will get to tightening it down. All right, well, that wraps it up here today. Thank you for joining us for this install. If you like these videos, please subscribe to our other social media channels to make sure that you don't miss any of our future content. Additionally, if you have any ideas for other videos or topics that you'd like us to cover, please drop them in the comments down below, and we will add them to our list to get to in the future. If you have any further questions for us, please give our customer support team a contact, either via email or by calling in. Thanks again for joining us, and see you guys next time.